Alright everyone, how's it going? So this video is Cancer, Inner, Outer, and Evolution. And just know, Cancer, that you are always at home. Alright, so Cancer. Alright, you seem like you are calm and the inner you seems like you're calm and strong. Beneath, you tend to feel insecure and inadequate. You are positive that other people know why they are doing what they're doing, while you feel like you're just winging it. You have a tendency to think negative, especially about the worst case scenario, and you don't ever think about the best case scenario. You are a very emotional person, and you are always feeling. Music brings out a lot of emotions in you and connects you to memories. You are in sync with other people's emotions too. You get involved in your friends' problems as you would with your own. If you are close to someone, then you must help them out, is how you feel. Harmony is important to you, and any kind of conflict or quarrel leaves you feeling depressed. However, you're definitely not wishy-washy. You have the courage of your convictions and strengths to stick up for what you think is right. You do not welcome change and are hesitant about going ahead with something untried, yet this doesn't stop you from doing what has to be done. Okay, so now we're going to go to the outer you, basically how other people perceive you. Those in your inner circle think of you as the den mother, the one who tries to fix everything. They welcome your wisdom and well-being. Unfortunately, they think you are controlling, and they do not want to be a puppet on your strings. They think that you are moody too. One minute you care about them, and the next you are crabby and want to avoid everything. In your career, you are seen as someone who can quickly spot a financial opportunity. And then here's the big topic of them all, the evolution of Cancer. So, the asleep crab, and that's your beginning stage, the moment of birth to whenever you decide to start your waking up period, is preoccupied with self-preservation. The magnetic forces of mass consciousness engulf the unconscious crab in undifferentiated beingness. You have no sense of boundaries or individuality. Asleep Cancer identifies with her tribe and family, which unknowingly pulls the strings. Determines your behavior, and it binds you to a particular form of expression and perpetuate your karma. So, in other words, your family or your group, whichever one it is, it kind of like sets the mood for the way how you end up acting out. You compulsively accumulate and hoard possessions. Your emotions swing back and forth with the phases of the moon and and the moods of your surroundings. You have difficulty interpreting and dealing with the psychic impressions that constantly bombard you. Your natural reaction is to hide and to avoid interactions that are in the slight and that are threatening. Almost everything is perceived as a threat to you. You are unable to differentiate between your feelings and external influences. The line between yourself and others is blurred. You silently struggle to hold on to yourself by collecting objects and obsessing about your next meal. You're very possessive. The asleep crab feels isolated and lonely. You are imprisoned in the shell of your fear. You suffer from the paradox of being connected with others that you cannot meaningfully connect. The problem is that there is no defined individual to connect to. A sleep cancer is sensitive to every word. It is hard for you to be clear and concise in your communications. Your indirectness often leaves others in the dark as to your intentions, which may lead to misunderstandings. You can get caught up in the endless swirl of emotions, lost in the sea of emotions. You are unable to ground yourself, and the clutches, and you clutch to fantasies for security and form. The sleep crab can also deny you emotions and sensitivity as a survival tactic. The problem is, of course, that denial does not eliminate emotional energy. It just pushes it underground. In the process, you lose touch with your own intuitive powers. Instead of being turned into and responding to the rhythms of life, you become a moody slave to your emotional cycles. You bob through life like a helpless victim of changing circumstances. You often feel rejected and abandoned, and you struggle to attract attention. You are endlessly concerned with getting your survival needs met. Although you feel needy and wish someone would rescue you, you also feel like you are alone and must fend for yourself. Cancer embodies nurturing energy. You are the mother who soothes and wounds, tells us that everything will be okay, and assures us that we are loved. A common problem for the unconscious crab is that your need for love often goes unmet. As you devote your time to nurturing others, you build up hidden resentment and bitterness, even rage, based on your feelings of being neglected. Overburdened and unappreciated, you can shut down emotionally in order to stop being drained by the needy personal interest of others. Unfortunately, this is the process that you must go through for the wake-up call. For a sleep cancer often comes for a sleep cancer, or for the awakened cancer, often comes from burnout and exhaustion. So once you get done, being burnt out from all this emotional chaos, you'll finally realize something deep down inside that I'm fixing to get to. At first, you blame something or someone outside yourself for your distress, but ultimately, you realize that you have compulsively given too much of yourself. You have tried to trade caretaker for love and approval. Your healing process begins when you realize that you are the one who must nurture and love yourself. Your path to empowerment takes place by taking responsibility for freeing yourself from your oppressive mental games and emotional dramas. Your freedom comes when you decide to create a more loving emotional reality with yourself. The awakened crab discovers what you really need is time to nurture and know yourself. You simply need to be left alone and isolate yourself from others who divert your energies toward their personal crises and involvement in group activities. It takes emotional discipline to call your energy and attention back to yourself, because You naturally take care of others. You must pull yourself back into your shell. You must control your compulsion to nurture others and develop your muscle for self-nurturing. It's hard to love others unless you can love yourself. Self-nurturing includes being good to your body, getting enough sleep, preparing and eating healthy food. And I am gonna go over a food portion in one of my other videos about like some of the best foods for you to eat. And stopping your habit of pushing yourself beyond your limits. The crab must renew your energy with self-focused activities. You must slow down and return home to your quiet inner center. Your goal is inner rebirth. You must cultivate a feeling of security which comes from inner peace, not from external emotional attachments. To achieve this, you must examine your unresolved dependency issues and hidden insecurities. Emotional growth is the focus for the awakening Cancer. You must cultivate an inner sense of security before you can feel safe enough to venture out into the world. You must break out of your dependency patterns and cut the cords of suffocating family dynamics. This includes becoming aware of family secrets and unspoken issues that continue to feed subconscious disturbances and affect your ability to trust and feel safe. You must break through nostalgia and sentimentally and quit fooling yourself about how perfect everything is. You must get in touch with a deep sadness, the undefined heaviness and repressed anger that has remained unconscious weights on your psyche for years. Awakening Cancer discovers the subjective emotions cannot be easily verbalized and that you cannot detach yourself from what you are feeling. Your internalization process teaches you that human emotions are the unconscious expression of the soul. As long as you are alive, you will carry this energy inside you. The need for security and protection and the instinctive urge to retreat to a safe inner sanctuary or messages from your soul. The anguish of unfulfillment coaxes you to explore deeper and more to expand the levels of self. Security issues are the basis of most Cancer's self-defeating behaviors, defense coping mechanisms, and building a wall around yourself do not transform your inner angst. The awakening crab realizes that you must embrace your anxieties and the unknown before you can find the peace and security that you desire. The crab is instinctively afraid. However, as you find your own personal path and forms of self-expression, your fear diminishes. It is from your personalness that you can objectively choose situations and relationships that nurture and support you. The awakening crab must move from protecting yourself from all outside influences to learning how to intelligently discriminate and choose among them. The awakening crab needs to establish psychic as well as physical boundaries. You still feel at home only with your close friends, with your own tribe, with like-minded people. As you establish your emotional boundaries, you will stop intruding into the emotional space of others and entangling yourself in relationships where you are trapped. As you train yourself to use your emotions as your inner guide, you will trust yourself to make the right decisions as you become more in tune with your own truth and reality. You will stop taking everyday circumstances and interactions so personally. as your inner conflict subsides, you will stop waiting for your energy trying to defend yourself against the conflict-creating attitudes of others. The awakening crab must safely anchor your identity in a strong, integrated ego structure. To do so, you must learn to distinguish between yourself and your environment. You must become aware of yourself as a separate entity. You must explore life on Earth and become conscious of your surroundings. You must develop a conscious relationship with yourself, your body, your soul, and your earthly mother. The awakened crab does not have an ordinary relationship to feelings. You do not respond defensively, reactively, or sentimentally. You are keenly aware of the universal love that permeates all life. You feel the desire to experience this love as the motivating force in all communications. Perceiving the desire to receive and give love as the primal motive of all beings, you are no longer attached to personality stories or games. The awake crab has depersonalized your feelings. You no longer get caught up in revenge patterns and power plays of ordinary life. You are detached from the traumas and dramas that once were the center of your realities. Serene and calm in your own center, you are true to yourself. The awakened crab facilitates the transition from a conflict to a supportive society. You know that everyone is looking for affirmation, support, and love. You know that when we are no longer at war with ourselves, we will no longer be at war with others. Once the crab has experienced love for herself, she helps others achieve connection with the Divine Mother. Sophia. Awake Cancer feels at home no matter where you are, because you take your home with you wherever you go. Your home is a sanctuary of your own soul. Awakened Cancer has found the light within and established her home in her own heart. Her soul passionately and peacefully dwells in her own body. She has a keen connection with invisible forces and the future. She carries the blueprint of life within her womb and nurtures it into life. With every breath, our mother crab declares, "I'm home." Alright, that wraps it up here, and I hope Cancer finds that as an enlightening experience. You know, and even though that's for Cancer, a lot of people can probably take that as good advice, because, you know, building that relationship with yourself is the first step into fixing the outer world. And that's one thing that, you know, always reminds me is, you know, we pay too much attention to this outer world that we always forget about this inner one. So you gotta have this straight before you can get this world straight. So anyways, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. I hope Cancer enjoyed this, and or if you know anybody who's Cancer enjoyed this, or you just enjoyed this just for what it is. But have a good one. Hopefully I may have a poem tomorrow, maybe Wednesday. It definitely won't be Tuesday. So you guys have a good one, and I will be back.